Thank you. It's 3 p.m. I'd just like to welcome everyone to the Cycling and Walking Subcommittee meeting of 15th February 2024, and everyone else that's watching on live stream. We have the apologies from John Wood, Councillor Gillett, Tim Brownlee and Jackie Gurdon. Any other apologies? Someone would like to move and second that we receive the apologies for Jay Wood, Brownlee, Gurdon.
It needs to be added in there.
Yep, Councillor King. Move Councillor Baird, yes. And seconder Councillor
Neil.
I know. That is terrible.
No, but it's because you're used to using their first names.
Exactly. That's right, your worship. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. Interest has been circulated via Microsoft Teams and email. Urgent items not in the agenda. The minutes of the previous meeting were circulated separately via Microsoft Teams. Would someone like to move and second that the minutes of the Cycling Walking Subcommittee meeting held on the 16th November 23 be confirmed as true and correct record of the meeting? Moved by Councillor Baird, seconded by Owen. All those in favour, raise your hands. Those against, carried. I approve my digital signature be added to the, sorry.
No. Sorry, yes, I apologise for interrupting, but I'm just wondering, it was shared on Teams. I wonder if it can be shared by email as well in the future, early as possible.
Yep.
Wasn't it?
Yep. I approve my digital signature be added to the confirmed Cycling Walking Subcommittee meeting minutes of 16 November 2023. Number 5 action list will be by Mr. Simon Bastian. Oh no.
I'm going to delegate that. Chair.
Well done.
Items 1 and 2, there's no further progress yet with those. Item 1 has been referred back to us by WTA to look into a historic consumption issue. I'm going to sit down with my team next week because these have been on the list for too long. So we will deal with that by the time we come back to the next meeting. Item 3, Pine Road connection. Chief Executive met with Inga Perkins. Confirmed that we're not in a position at WDC to bring forward any money. I would recommend that we remove that item from the action list. And item 4, regarding the track realignment behind the racecourse, Council made a TIF application which was declined. I would also recommend that we remove that from the action list as well.
Have you any questions for Scott?
I can add a note when it comes to my moment to speak, but I would also like to see that track realignment stay on the agenda for any future funding opportunities, or sit somewhere wherever that would be appropriate.
Which one, sorry?
The last opportunity, the track realignment behind the racecourse. Because this funding application was unsuccessful, I wouldn't like to see that lost. I think there might be other opportunities, other funding at some point. So could it just stay on some sort of pending or here or wherever is appropriate?
Just through the chair, it doesn't need to stay on this list. This is an action for purely the committee. So there's a raft of potential projects that council always has in the back pocket.
Right.
And this is one of those that will be pulled out as required. So we've already got an application we've used in the past. It just needs to be dusted off when the right appropriate fund comes along. I'm sure we'll be reminded when the applications are coming along anyway.
Thank you. Any further questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott. Written reports. Oh, sorry, yeah. I'd like to move and second that we receive the update action list be received from Mayor Cullen and Councillor Beard. Second.
Okay.
So, thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, both Jackie Gurdon and John Wood are unavailable today to present regards to the West Coast Cycleway Trust. Just got the report that I've said I'll talk to the committee about, so I'll run through those very quickly, but I'll take them all as read. Just to highlight that it was a 10-year celebration since the last committee, held on December the 16th last year. Obviously, it was a turnout for that celebration, but also the ability to formally open the Manipur viewing platform, and also launched the accessible ride guide, which has gone down extremely well. Based on that, there is an event that has been planned for the very near future in terms of a sort of a family event rather than a race. We've done a survey of e-bike charging stations, request from MB across all major great rides. Came to the point that we don't need any further assistance in this area. There are enough charging stations within the district, but also a lot of the riders can last a full day without requiring any further at point charging stations. There's some work happening with Gentle Anti-Track out of Mara Junction, which is not really associated with the trail, but as a link to the trail. That's been undertaken by the Mara Junction community. You will see there also a very long report in terms of the statistics, which is a quarterly review from MB, quarterly monthly, I think it might be monthly actually. Basically based on the amount of feedback that's come through from various surveys that have been undertaken by riders on the trail. Does show that we are performing above the average in terms of trails, and obviously in terms of scenery we're probably close to number one in New Zealand. So well done to the team that drive that. There has been a request to look at economic return in terms of what does the trail bring back to the community or to the district. So the trail manager, Jackie Gurdon, has done an economic assessment report. This is something she does annually, but I've asked her to do one for this meeting. She's more than happy to come to full council to present another report. The report indicates that a direct return to the economy of 15 million. That's based on 15,000 riders at around $1,000 a day a visit. MB using multiplier factor of 3.55 for trial expenditure, which has been tested around all other major grade rides. So that figure times 3.55 is quite a substantial number in terms of return on investment. So the stated number there is $15 million. It talks about the revival of townships. We both know what the trial has done for both Kumara and Ross in terms of rejuvenating those townships. New businesses have sprung up accordingly, and some have been seen a lot of investment go in because of the amount of traffic through that area. Also, we have some trail companies that have set up, and then we have some external ones that come into the district as well. And just not to forget the use of local riders as well. I'll take the rest of the report as read, happy to take questions on their behalf. I may not be able to answer them, but I can do my best.
Not too much a question. I'd like to invite Jackie Gurdon into council to report on that economic part to council. I think it'd be well worthwhile.
Take that as an action to ask for an invite.
Thank you. And just on what we're talking about, people that are using the trail, I was talking to a group down in Rebel Street there. A chap that was here quite a few years ago, and he came with a group of about 8 or 9, and he got so excited about it, he brought this group back from New Zealand, and they were talking about going over to Europe. But what they're looking at doing now is bringing these Europeans back into the South Island. They reckon it's one of the most beautiful places for biking around. So it's really good to get feedback from the people out there that are doing it. That was all.
You'll see in terms of the survey, the amount of positive comments that are in there. Obviously, there are a few negative ones in that around, but the predominantly is all reasonably positive.
Any further questions?
Who else does the report get circulated to?
Sorry?
Where else does the report get circulated?
So it's primarily this committee, but this committee can present to full council. I think this is a public forum. I've seen this report is available to the public.
There's some comments there that might be useful to people with eating places in town and that sort of thing. That's all nice if that can be.
Sorry?
There are some comments that are relevant to people with eating places in town. So it's nice if that can be shared around with people.
Good, yeah.
And also the sort of national interest in the accessibility guide and the achievements that they've done, or the work they've done on that. It's leading the field in that is excellent.
Thank you. Any further? Thank you. So someone like to move and second that we receive the report from Simon about the West Coast Walkers Trail. Councillor Baird and Councillor Neal. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. The next report is from the Grey District Council from Councillor Jack O'Connor. Got it right this time, Jack.
You did, thank you. Get my own name sometimes. Thank you. Very simple report today. I think probably the biggest thing is we need to congratulate DOC, who are officially opening the Pike 29 Memorial Trail tomorrow. Again, it's just adding to that trail network that we're building up on the whole of the West Coast, and we talk about bringing visitors to the coast. Well, they're going to stay a lot longer and they're going to come back. One good experience of bringing them back to do more and more, but they're not doing multiple visits while they're here. So that's really exciting that that's happening. It's certainly going to add to the benefits of the Paparoa walk, keeping people on there. And again, we've also seen businesses setting up to manage that pick up, drop off, or car relocations as well. So it's going to benefit that whole community. And while we don't have any economic figures in Grey District at the moment around our trails, it is certainly enhancing the district. On back of that, the Lake Runner Scenic Trail continues to be pushed forward through to Bay and Bay. They're getting sort of towards that stage, and once they get there, there are plans to actually carry on through to Kamara to hopefully link up to the cycle trail, to the Wilderness Trail, further down the track, but I think they might need to take a little bit of a breather, the crew of the committee. But again, it's on the back of some, there's been good lottery funding applications that have gone to that. There was the Tree Waters funding, which we got to use. Grey District allocated some of that to this. There've been some fantastic community fundraisers as well, and also sponsorship. We are fortunate that there's quite a lot of Canterbury people that have homes, holiday homes in that Moana area, so they've been very forthcoming with some of that support for this as well. So it just, again, just that awareness. It's a shared bike walking trail, which seems to be becoming pretty popular now. Very safe because it's the vision lines on that. I haven't been through the latest part of it, but up to the initial stages were very correct with the vision lines and all that, so I couldn't see any problems. And it's very flat, so that's also appealing to a lot of the people. I did actually include some links to the Blackwall School flow track, which I mentioned in a previous meeting. I hope people had a chance to have a look at that, because you may not get out there to look at the Blackwall one, but it just sort of highlights these, again, just building that cycle network and installing in the kids that skill development. And I think we'll see more of that sort of thing into the schools around the region as they start to become aware of it. The Cobden Aramahama Sanctuary and Recreation Area at Cobden. Now, that's an old dump site, which we had a few problems with a few years ago. We got washed out by the sea erosion, caused major grief. The flood wall has been since put back up to protect that, and the sanctuary's been developed around it. And we've got a private sponsor which has come through just before Christmas, and they were going to extend it. And their work will allow the Greater Council's funding portion that we've got to extend on to that work that's been done. So while we've got a small amount of council money, it'll go a lot further if we attach it to these private sponsorships. I've got all the machinery and things happening at the same time. And on the other side of it, out onto the Grey River, attached to this, eventually we're going to boardwalks around the Whitebait Sanctuary, again highlighting we're synonymous with whitebait, and we can actually show some of the habitats that have been developed, and a boardwalk around that's going to be pretty awesome. Yeah, the big concern is vandalism around the properties, and I'm not sure where the trail was at recently, but we did have the one at the Brunner mine site up the Grey River, some needless vandalism, and thank you to Doc for the work that they've done to reinstate that as quickly as they can, because it's a lovely tourist area and proved very popular. Again, I'm not sure what the answer is around this. We've just got idiots out there that causing us needless cost, expense and time. Not to mention we had a really bad run with road signs recently up our way, and it's just mind-boggling that people can take time. It's not like it's just random, they're going out their way to make this happen. So, fingers crossed that we can sort of start picking up on a little bit more of this as it's going on and stop and jump on it. And then the last little thing is the Te Manawa Active Aotearoa Fund, which is through wearing my other hat at Sport Canterbury. There's a fund currently open the 12th of February to 1st of March, very short, and it's for play, active recreation and sports projects, and it's targeting activation of 5 to 18-year-old and also 19 to 24-year-old women, and with a priority focus around high deprivation communities, females, disability, and grants are up to $10,000 currently. We're anticipating another round later on in the year where grants up to $40,000. So it's just spread it among your networks, because we're trying to activate spaces and people. So any way that we can do that, to give me a call and we can start basically make it happen. That's my story.
Whereabouts is the track going from to Bain Bay? How much have you completed?
From Moana, around the lake edge.
So you're just about there. Well,
yeah, no, it's and it's a community group, Lake Brunner. There's a committee that's going to put all this work in behind it, and others of people have come on board with it, and it's well worth a look. And you've got access to water the whole way around. You can start through from it.
go on. Any questions?
I have three questions. The Lake Runner track, is that a council asset or is it local?
No, it's a local asset.
So they'll maintain it?
They will maintain it. And so, and council don't at this stage have any plans to take it over or do maintenance on it, so we're actually quite fortunate on that.
The second question regarding the proposed extension through to Cobden, is that extending the cycle trail or just, is that a new part of the track?
No, well, will link into the flood wall. So the flood wall carries on. The cycle trail, the wilderness trail finishes at basically the warehouse in Greenmouth.
Yes.
But from there, it is possible to carry on along the flood wall, across the bridge, and carry the flood wall down into the Cobden area.
Are you proposing to extend the official distance of the cycle trail?
No, not at this stage. It's just, this is another like subsidiary area space that people actually is.
Okay, so the funding for that extension will be under Grey District Council?
Of the Cobden, yes.
Just conscious that every time we apply for West Coast Wilderness Trail funding, particularly if it's covered under emergency works, etc., I've just got to understand what we can and can't apply for based on that termination point, if you know what I mean.
It's not, it won't be linked to the wilderness trail, but there will be access to it.
That's right.
Through that extension. And using the flood wall is due to be upgraded as well, so we haven't sort of got to that point.
The last point is around the funding opportunity. Is that available to councils?
Yes, it is. The Grey District Council actually, they have one which is a fun fest, they call it, which they run small events to activate spaces around the community.
You know, is it only applicable to one application or could we put in multiple applications?
They sort of look, you can put multiple applications in, but under one you can do 3 different aspects of it. No more than 3 under the one application. I think at the moment Westland High School has one sitting with the volleyball component and the other one, and touch rugby component, which they will activated within the community. So that's all under one fund. If they want to go back and do a second round, and they can apply again over a fund if they want to.
The reason I ask is I think we're looking to find funding for some enhancements to our new playground, and this would fit in quite nicely to that.
Yeah, not infrastructure. Yeah, there's certainly ways that we could look at that. So that they won't actually fund the build part of it.
No, I tell you, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's really just like we're looking ways of activating groups and especially targeting ones that are inactive at the moment.
Any further questions for Jane? Angus?
Something about the vandalism and whether there's any actions that you can take other than replacement and repairing, and is there any surveillance or that sort of thing?
I wish we had the answer to that, and I may be able to, again, it's not that stood up and look at that and did it very quickly as well. If you're lucky, you catch them. It seems to be, quite circumstances quite often. Just don't have any, and there's so many places where it happens. It's not continuously in the same spot. This week, just head off somewhere else.
It's just been a nasty incident of vandalism along our heritage trail around Hokitika, which is really, really disappointing, and I doubt there's anything can be done, but just really disappointing.
Yeah, and saying that we're seeing a bit of a change in how the new government is actually dealing with some of the criminal activity, so that could be something to look forward to in the near future.
Springbeacon losing a finger or something like that, I think.
Yeah, they seem to be look like they're going to stand a little bit harder than possibly the previous government was, so on some of that, so it might be a nice way follow that and see if we can link in with what they're trying to do.
Thank you, Jack. Any further questions? Thank you, Jack. Would someone like to move and second that we receive the report from Jack? Inga, move, and second, Councillor Nealon. Thank you. The next report is from Manawa Energy, which will be tabled from Scott Baxendale. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, I'm presenting the report from Manawa Energy, which is short and succinct. I'm quite happy to take any questions or refer any questions back to Tim.
No further questions? Thank you, Scott. Yes.
Sure.
It was short, and it's a short report.
So,
Yeah. Would someone like to move and second that we receive that report from Scott? From Jack, moved, Jack O'Connor, and second was Andrew Perkins. Sorry, Your Worship.
that's what I thought you were switching.
No. The next report is from the Department of Conservation, Owen Kilgore. All yours, Owen.
Kia ora koutou. I might start with responding to the question about vandalism. It's not on my report, it seems to be topical. There has been quite a lot over the last few weeks, various dock assets, so Hans Bay and Sunny Bight, both our toilet blocks there have been vandalised, once, twice, and quite badly. You might have seen in the paper, Kerwin's Hut, Big River, and recently Waiuta as well. So we have been working quite closely with the police on that, some behind the scenes, some more publicly through the media, but they did catch the people that did the Waiuta one. And the thing with these is that there's always someone who knows, not just those that yeah, there are people around that know, and that's partly why we're trying to be a bit strategic in what we're putting in the media and what we're not. Incredibly frustrating and waste of money, so waste of time as well.
Can we ask if they're predominantly out of towners or were they West Coasters?
I don't know who was caught for the Waiuta one. I mean, Kerwin's Hut is at least a good 3 hours walk in there, so it's not like we didn't have quite purposely, it's just crazy to think. It's pretty much unprecedented for us, like little silly things happen in the back country that walk into a hut and do damage on that scale. We haven't really seen that before.
Yeah, well, sort of history
Very
sort of
disappointing.
shows that you know, the Rodian huts sort of got the vandalism, say an hour and a half, but 3 hours in, those huts were left alone.
Oh, hi, because they're trappers, aren't they?
Yeah, so unusual. It has been a really busy summer for us at the campsites. A number of sites, and particularly Hans Bay, have been full, well, to and beyond capacity. Hans Bay is always popular, of course, with locals, but with tourists as well. So we're actually having to look at how we manage those sites. They're all bookable, but perhaps better defining in terms of whose campsites where and how we manage that. Especially like channels around the start of there. The gorge also has been really busy. We have been in discussions with council around how we manage the traffic out there. That's been, I guess, since November. There's been various days when the car park's been full, but it's continuing to get good feedback about the visitor experience, which is excellent. As far as the new bridge goes, the engineering survey work's been completed. Done some excavation as well, so we've got rocks available to anchor the new bridge, and it all looks very positive. So time-wise, that project is running as scheduled. The next phase for that is the engineering design work. We've secured some funding for our historic program to install a wahanoa at the Hokitika Gorge. It's something that's been talked about for the last few years, but good to have that funding in place, and that'll be delivered for our iwi partners. In terms of public access, we've been working with landowners in Aotearoa for part of the Te Araroa Trail for access across public land for the Minga sort of deception area. There's been a bit of stock poaching going on via that access way, so we had to work quite carefully to not lose that, which we've been able to do, which is fantastic. Also working with the landowner up the Kokatahi Valley, just security and improved access up there. Wainston Island, so the project there funded through Jobs for Nature, which we've delivered in partnership with District Council and Regional Council. That stage 2 is technically finished now. TVNZ, who have worked on that project with us, finished up last week. We had a bit of an event to recognise that. And we're still working with Development West Coast, looking for commercial partners who are interested in participating in maintaining that site going forward. And of course, Western Milk Products have been involved in the past and continue to be, but we're looking at new opportunities there. And the governance group for that project will continue to meet for the future, both maintenance and new opportunities. And lastly, I didn't have on my agenda either, but the Pike Memorial Track, as noted, will be having an opening next week, which of course should bring good economic benefit, but I guess most importantly, it's come out of commitment from the previous government for families of the victims of the Pike, and as a memorial to them. That is my report.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions from anyone?
Well, so Mahanapo rail bridge works. So you've got inspection works underway shortly.
Yeah.
Obviously, you won't know the outcome of that inspection works until June, by the looks of it. Obviously, they'll have potentially impacts on the cycle trail if there is significant remedial works.
It depends on what works,
Yeah.
I guess, and how it's undertaken, but the works probably wouldn't be on the bit people are riding on. It's more around the piles where we might anticipate it. So being an old rail bridge, it's standard practice to drill core samples into that hardwood timber, and then we just see what they discover. But there have been remedial works in the past, obviously, will probably need to be going forward. We're not anticipating anything yet.
Exactly.
Do you have like an estimated date that the new Hokitika Gorge will built and reopen? Like, I know we sort of see by summer 2025 maybe, but.
Yeah, that's still what we're saying. Hopefully not a maybe. Well, it shouldn't be a maybe. That's what we're aiming for. We're on track for that, but we wouldn't want to put an exact date on it. No.
And just on that, the use of the rock on both sides have been inspected by engineers. Has been a real plus. Right?
Yeah, certainly anticipated, but nice to have it confirmed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
So I'd like to move and second that we receive the report from Owen Kilcool. Thanks, Councillor Baird and Inga Perkins. Second it. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Carried. Now, our next report is from Inga Perkins. The legal one.
This will be the bike track. Oh, sorry.
My apologies for not having a written report for the agenda. I've got a couple of things just to note. One is the Pine Tree Road that was mentioned on the action list before, and Simon's explained that the council are not in a position to take that forward at present. No funding available for that, but it's certainly seen the value in that connection from Pine Tree Road up to Howe House and Brickfield Roads. So he's handed that back to me if I'm able to pick that up, and I am, and my organisation, the Outdoor Access Commission, has said, yep, if you can fit that in, go for it, so, which is really good. And then as Simon suggested, I talked to Nigel at the Hokitika Community Trust, because they may be able to support, not do the work, but support as a sort of a trust in place that can receive funding. And Nigel was happy to do that. Then I went and spoke to Graham at West Roads, Graham Kelly, who said,
yep, we need to do a route, then we'll do a budget, and we'll get back to you in March with those. And I spoke to Chris Pullen at the milk factory, whose pipeline goes up there, and he said, yep, they'll find a way to support it. So hopefully we'll get that done, we'll find a way to make that happen. So we're encouraging 3 really positive meetings. And I'll keep this committee posted on progress on that route. Previously I've mentioned the locked gates at Ruatapu and the prevention of access over the unformed legal road there. And we were expecting the gates to be done by the end of this month. And I understand the first one went in yesterday and hopefully the second one's going in today. So that access should be restored with support and direction of the council. Thank you, Simon. And just one other little note, thought it was worth mentioning. The Commission has written a piece on road stopping, and there's 2 different means of stopping roads. It's just a very interesting way that councils work and the legislation works, and it's going to be published in the Local Government magazine next month, so there might be some interesting stuff in there, but as far as I have been aware and experienced, it's all working really well here, using either the Public Works Act or the Local Government Act for various road stopping opportunities. Might be interesting. Thank you.
Thanks, Inga. Any questions for Inga at all? Thanks, Inga. Would someone like to move that we, and second, that report from Inga Perkins, please?
Penny, I'll
Councillor Pitt, sorry?
Penny, I'll forward my notes to Penny. Thank you.
Thank you. It was Councillor Baird moved, and I think it was Councillor Neal that was seconded. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Now, the last report I've got here from the Western Mountain Bike Club from Liam Anderson, but I don't think he's here. There's a...
I am here.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go. Thanks, Liam. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll see if my video works. So the Westland Mountain Bike Club have had a major project which we talked about, I think I mentioned a couple of meetings ago. We're building an easy grade 3 entry and exit track to the Blue Spur Forest. So we've done quite a lot of planning, and we've actually started digging that with Mike Osborne from Paparoa Environmental Services. It's been quite a process for the club. We didn't kind of expect all the hurdles that were involved in terms of getting this track built, but we're most of the way there, where he's probably over halfway through digging this track, which will be close to 1.5 kilometres when it's finished. We had quite a lot of communications with Ngāi Tahu Forestry, getting health and safety documents and processes signed off, and developing methods for not damaging production trees, which was quite complicated. We've also had to start getting some unformed legal road opened, which we found out will involve resource consent with council and consulting with the adjoining landowners. We have been talking to council, and we've had some meetings with the landowners, and they're all quite positive. But that's kind of where we're at the moment, just talking with them. So going forward, to complete the track, really we need to get that resource consent lodged to allow us to form a track through the legal road, and arrange for that legal road to be fenced, because it's currently being grazed. So that's kind of where the Westland Mountain Bike Club is at the moment. Any questions?
Yeah, from Simon.
Yeah, Liam, last time you talked, I think you talked about having a requirement for additional parking alongside the new track. Has that been worked through as well?
There's been no requirements. It's just something that we've been aware of, that if if more and more people are using it, the local people might get a bit annoyed with parking going on. So we're going to encourage bikers to park out adjacent to stations on the main road there, where there is some kind of parking. It hasn't been formed properly, but it's a traditional parking zone, and that may have to be made a bit more usable if numbers do increase.
All good. Any further questions for Liam at all? Thank you, Liam. No further questions there. Would someone like to move and second that we receive the report from the Western Mountain Bike Club? Inga Perkins and Councillor Neil second. All those in favour? Aye. Carried. I think that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. So I will close the meeting at 3:43, which is quite a good short meeting. What do you think?